The following is a presentation of Geekster Media.
Hey there, and welcome to another edition of the Thrift Store Horde. Oh, we are back. It's summertime. There's lots of stuff going on out there, whether it's garage sales, whether it's the usual thrift hunting, the shows. There's all sorts of ways that we can find some vintage collectibles and fun bits of the past to share with you. And we are ready to go. I'm Adam.
And I'm Chris.
And Kevin could not be here with us tonight. He is traveling. And so he said he is going to be doing some thrifting while he's visiting some other towns. So he will be back with us next month and surely have some stories to tell. But I think we have enough to look at here. I will tell you, Chris, in my area, especially, like our window of nice weather is so small when it hits, like, very beginning of summer, like everybody just like garage sales everywhere, estate sales everywhere. Like it's wild. So I'm surrounded by stuff right now that I could grab in every direction. So I'll start with some of the big stuff just to get going here. So I was actually this is actually Goodwill, but I was surprised because I went one week and I found this item, and then I went back the next week and I found the item still sealed, and that were two vintage Spider-Man puzzles. Okay, so these are from, I believe, what it say, because it has the copyright of 81 and then 88. So I think they were re-releases, like, because I've seen another puzzle online that is like the wood ones, like the cutout ones with the same design. So I think that must have been the original. But yeah, this one is still sealed. So it was just so funny to find it in the same place just a week apart. Get those going. But also in the mix was a Masters of the Universe vintage puzzle, complete. Love that artwork. A blonde Tila is so weird to see. But also, so I did stop by an estate sale. They were just kind of clearing all their stuff out. I picked up a giant, it was like a very big TV VCR combo. And I was so excited because I was like, I already have two, but I was like, this one's bigger than all of them. And then I got it home and it won't stay on. Like when you push power and you put a tape in, like it just goes, like, so it'll be on for a second, then power down. But what I'm going to do, I had another TV that did that, another TV VCR unit, and I was going to sell it at a garage sale because like the monitor still kind of worked, but the tape didn't work. And I had it outside in the hot heat for a whole day. And then after that, I tried it again and it worked. So I'm going to put this one out in the summer sun and see what happens. But anyway, this estate sale, I picked up some of these old school, like 60s board games and things like that. This is actually like, it's like a weird, like funhouse mirror for your house. And then it comes with little disguise pieces so that you can make your own little faces at yourself. So I thought that was interesting. And then there was this guy here, Bash, a real knockout game from Milton Bradley. 1965, this one. So it's kind of like Jenga, where like you build up this character and then you have this little hammer thing and you try to knock him out. If you hit it fast enough, it just knocks him out, but then he just goes down shorter and shorter. So I tried it out, it works. So it was pretty interesting. And then these were actually back at Goodwill. I found this guy right here going to the 80s, Snake Dance, the scariest skill and action game ever. So the idea behind this one is you have these snakes on this platform thing that's motorized and they spin around. And then basically you have these little different like trinkets, like necklaces that hang on it. And you have a little wand that you try to get them up and over faster than everybody else. So my kids got a kick out of it. I put batteries in. They don't actually spin, but it's still a fun game, even if the snakes aren't moving. My kids also got a kick out of this one. Silly Dillies? So this is another one. This is this strange thing. I'll take one of them out here, where you put down these little discs on the ground, And then you have these little slinky pickle guys, okay? And they have a slinky inside, but they also have suction cups on the bottom, and you go down and it picks them up. So it'll actually grab the little cardboard things, and so that it's just a do it as fast as you can kind of game. But my kids thought that was pretty hilarious as well. So let me see. I'll show one more thing here in that vein, and then we'll come back around to me. But this was what I just found recently at the thrift store, a Radio Shack radio controlled puppy. Okay. So this is wild. It was in beautiful shape. I'll show it to you here what it looks like on the inside. But it's like, there's no like markings on it. Like everything is in great shape, but it doesn't work. I put the batteries in and I can't make it work. So I'm going to see if I can find one of my more mechanically inclined or electronically inclined friends to take a look at it. They might have some idea. But
yeah, I think a lot of those older ones, Adam, they have their wiring wasn't great. And a lot of times, especially if they've moved around a lot, sometimes that wiring there's a wire or two that might have come undone in the inside.
Yeah, especially if it's Radio Shack, they weren't always the highest quality items. All right, well, let's see a little bit of what you got.
Shock face. All right. Well, I'm going to try to keep in the vein you just did, because I too found some board games. We'll start off with, did you ever play Perfection as a kid?
Oh, yeah.
So I found one of the original box sets.
Whoa.
And I had to grab it. It was a cool looking, the set just looked cool, and I liked sort of the idea of it. I have a newer version that's sort of fun to play around with. We took it to our annual game weekend, and like all the adults were seeing how fast we could go and then making fun of each other. One of my friends is an engineer, and he was extremely fast at it, and he made the game no fun after that. But this one looks pretty complete. I bought it, and I was like, oh, this sort of looks nice, and the box is in nice shape. Here's one that may be dear to your heart. I've already picked it up because I have a friend that collects Batman things.
Ooh.
So the Batman Forever Battle at the Big Top 3D board game. So one of my friends already claimed it and has already paid me for it. So I have to deliver it to her because her husband's a Batman collector. So anytime I get Batman stuff, I always send her a picture, and then she tells me yay or nay.
Well, I gotta ask, because that was at the store near me, and they were charging like $25-$30 for it, something around that. Like, did you get it at the thrift store for just a cheap deal?
I got it in the bins, so it was by weight, so it was like probably $2.
Wow.
So, and then this one was really interesting. And because it has batteries, I was able to get the thrift store battery price for it, which is electronics is really cheaper per pound. So Girl Talk Dateline, and it has all the pieces in there. I have no idea if it works or not, but I was like, that's a pretty, if it's complete, it's a pretty decent little pickup. And I had to snag it. I don't normally see board games at the bins when I go, and when I do, sometimes I steer away because sometimes they're a little heavy, or it's not worth it to grab it if they're missing parts. These ones actually worked out all right. What else I got? One other thing, it's not a board game, but it doesn't really fit in any of the categories. I picked it up just because I thought it was neat. Was this Vans speaker? It's like a shoebox, but it's like a shoebox size speaker. It comes with a cable. I had my daughter plug it into her cell phone to see if it works, and it does, as long as there's no other sounds in the room. You can hear the music come through. It's not they're not high grade speakers, but still pretty neat. I thought it was a pretty cool little thing, and it cost me like 15 cents, so it was worth grabbing. One other thing that's not quite anything that fits. I don't know if they had these in your area. We got them as part of like a Safeway promotion, but they were these micro pops. And they're Disney. So every time you spend a certain amount, you got a little blind bag that had these little rubber Disney micro pops in them. And there's a whole set. Well, I found this whole set at the bins all complete. And I was like, I'm just going to grab that because I have been picking them up wherever I get them, just because I know some people still try to build their sets.
That's awesome.
Um,
Yeah.
it was nice finding the full set. It took me a while to build a full set just from bin diving and from the ones my mom was way into them, so we got a bunch of extras from her as well. So I have a couple containers full of those little rubber things. But that's all for that. I'll let you go to your next.
Okay. Cool. I think I'm gonna try share a few little toy things here, maybe. Well, I don't know. I'll start with some books. So I did my 5-year-old comes to like the thrift stores with me, to the garage sales with me. So he's an old pro now. He knows what to look for, but he also like has like developed a taste for vintage things. And one of the things he's really liked are these little Smurf books. And so
Oh,
I've seen
nice.
it before, but I just found a whole stack of them. And so that was kind of nice just to get that because they're good for bedtime. Like he enjoys the Smurfs, and Smurfs were like that was, and I also got a Care Bears one, which was cool. But Smurf was like my nickname as a kid. Like that's what my dad
Okay.
called me. And so I have a bunch of Smurf collectibles that we keep at his house for, my kids to play with when we come to visit. But also there was this garage sale I went to, but they had like actual like vintage collectible stuff and they knew what it was worth. They had like old stuff like from the Monkees from the 60s, like little action figure dolls and like vintage books and all. I was like, oh, okay, this is a little too rich for my blood, except for I got the novelization of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom for like $1. So that was cool. Also, my
There
my
you go.
son is super into Beetlejuice right now. I showed him the cartoon. He's excited about the sequel. I showed him the movie and skipped some of the inappropriate parts, but I grabbed this just because I have it on Blu-ray and I have it on VHS, multiple copies, but I didn't have a DVD copy. So um, this was just fun. This is just a Hulk, CD case here. And he's like, "Oh, you can put your movies in that. We can watch them in the car." I'm like, "Yeah, that's awesome." It was 99 cents. Um, at a garage sale, I was pretty excited about this. For me, maybe not, but for somebody, I got a whole bag of these vintage 80s earrings. Okay, they're sets, I'm just showing one of them here, but just to these bangles style things, it's just like really takes you back. They're all for pierced ears. My daughter just got her ear pierced, so I figure there's going to be an 80s night somewhere for her, and then she'll have vintage gear to wear. Let me see. Oh, so also it was at a garage sale and I saw this puzzle on top, a vintage Fantastic Four. I got excited. And so I was like, I just took this up and I was like, how much did you want for this? They're like, oh, it's $2. I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, for the whole box, because it was on top of a whole box of puzzles. I was like, oh, okay. Like, here's $2. I'll take the box. And most of the puzzles were missing pieces. So most of them are going in the garbage, but there was some cool, like here's a complete vintage Peter Pan one here. And then there were some other Disney and Looney Tunes ones. Like even this one was missing a few pieces. I put it together last night and I was like, it's missing like 5 pieces. But there was also this one here, which is really fun. Here are those pieces, the 550 piece troll puzzle. So that'll be fun to put together. My wife, that's like her meditation is doing puzzles. So this is how I can mix the vintage and get her involved there. I'll show this one last thing and then I'll save the rest of it for the last round. But picked up this vintage Mickey Mouse lunchbox here, was pretty cool. Anytime Mickey's skateboarding, right? So but it was a unique look because I don't know exactly when this is from, but it's definitely like a vintage box. Like I looked it up. But I'm trying to figure out if this is like 1990 or like, because this is like out of the 80s design. This is going back to kind of the classic look. It's a weird character model. So I'll have to do more research on that, but that was just kind of fun. Oh, and while we're on the topic of Disney, I did buy a bag at Goodwill of just random stuff. It had some like Minnie Mouse dolls in it, but this is a vintage Nightmare Before Christmas watch. And so I was
Oh,
like, oh,
nice.
I mean, everybody loves vintage Nightmare Before Christmas. Unfortunately, when I finally got it out of the bag, this part is broken. So I was like, so close. But at least it's a cool little memento of a time. But yeah, let's see what else you got over on your side.
All right. So I'll go through some books and other media here. So I found this. I didn't realize that WWF had a series of like children's books or middle reader books. So WWF super fan wanted one kid who has what it takes to take the title of super fan. I have no idea anything about it. I haven't read it, but I was like, 50 cents, I'll grab it and throw it in my bin. It goes in the WWF pile.
Yeah.
Hit a garage sale. I haven't been finding too much vinyl, and I've been really picky about what I find, but I had to take this LL Cool J single home.
Nice.
Going back to Cali from Less Than Zero. Like I said before, I do love getting these little 45s that have the picture sleeves, just because they display, they're fun to display. Another thing that comes with the record that I found, The Hobbit. I don't know if you're A or nay on ranking as Hobbit. It's one of my favorite animated movies. I just love that show. I consider it the actual prequel to the Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings series, not the Peter Jackson ones. But the record's in pretty decent condition, if not a little dirty, but it was a fun find. I grab any of this Rankin Bass stuff, Hobbit stuff, anytime I find it.
I actually have the cassette tape that goes with the later edition, where they changed over from records
Oh,
to
nice.
cassette. Yeah.
Another thing, I love choose your own adventure books, and I love fantasy, and this is another one of the Dungeons and Dragons Endless Quest, Pick a Path to Adventure, and it's the Crimson Crystal Adventure. So it's one of those ones where all the interior has the weird red, and this one actually had, well, it did, I dropped it. It has oh no, it doesn't. It has the little red decoder, so you can see the special shapes. I don't know how well that translates onto the video, but you can see the diamond hiding in there, or ruby. So
that's neat.
I thought that was neat. I love those types of books. Just 80s Muppets kids. Never fail to grab any of the Muppet Babies. These aren't Muppet Babies though. That was the interesting thing. It's Muppet Kids.
Yeah, I have a bunch of those, like where they have them like where they're like elementary school, then they seem to have like almost junior high age. It's so weird.
Another thing I got lucky with is more choose your own adventure books, some of the later series.
Yeah.
Again, I figure out Beyond the Great Wall, Longhorn Territory, Planet of the Dragons, and the First Olympics. So I need to start figuring out which ones I have and which ones I need, so I can just finish the series up.
That's awesome.
Actually, I need to find a bookshelf so then I can put them in to finish. Another interesting thing I found that was complete was this Star paper doll set. And it's very Barbie style. And then I looked it up, and it is a Mattel toy, or it is based on Mattel. So I'm sure, because Barbie's Mattel, correct? Am I thinking right? I think it is from that universe, possibly.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's still complete. They're all in there, unpunched. So any of those vintage paper doll books, if they're affordable in there, I'll grab them. I don't know how well they're, like, this thing will go onto my table next flea market or toy show, but I don't know about the demand, but I always think they're neat. I remember my grandma had a bunch from my older cousins at her house. Another one, R.L. Stine Goosebumps Series 2000. Again, we've hit that before. We always, I think you as well, grab Goosebump books anytime you can find them if they're 50 cents or less.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting thing. It sort of merges both books and VHS and cassettes. Oh, this one's mainly VHS and cassettes, but apparently it could teach you French. So it's lyric language double play French, and it's a tape and a VHS cassette to learn more French. So apparently you could learn French with an earlier set, and this is more French.
Wow.
I don't know why the family circus is teaching us French. I never pictured them as French. Maybe they're Canadian. I don't know. Another book doesn't fit in with the children's books, but I thought it was really cool looking, and I love this books that talk about early technology, especially the 80s and stuff. So it's the ABCs of IBM. And I love just like, I think it's the intro to the idiot's guides type stuff, because there's stuff on like some interesting things asking about, or step 1A, the anatomy of your PC, and it goes through all the different parts of your PC. There's stuff on like beginning of the basics, turning on your computer. Pretty awesome. I love these type of books. I'm always grabbing them if they look interesting, and I love that style of like the art that they use on these. A lot of times it's like sci-fi or weird.
Yeah, it's like, are you as dumb as an ape? Is this ape being taught? He's scratching his head in a weird way. I'm like, what is this?
Here's a couple interesting things I found, and I can't find anything on them, and I think they're probably at this point pretty rare to find intact. But apparently there was a Mr. Rogers family communication like newsletter, and it was called Around the Neighborhood.
Wow.
And there were one-page papers with activities on the back too, like make your own neighborhood. I haven't found anything about them. I looked online, and either it's nobody wants them, which I don't know that would be true. I think there's Mr. Rogers collectors out there.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they're just because it's newsprint.
You got chucked. Yeah.
Yeah, it got chucked, or kids played with it, and we know how that goes. And then there was another size. It was a different size, same publication. So they must have. This is volume 2. Yeah, so this is volume 2. The other was volume 1. But this was February 1975 when these came out. When this one, volume 2, came. So I thought that I grabbed those right off the bat when I saw them, just because they looked. I'm like, these don't exist anywhere. I don't think. I haven't done enough research to see, but I can't imagine there's a lot of them floating out there. And well, let me keep blowing through some of the media, because we'll finish off with toys and such. It's been a good VHS hunting season, is what I'll say. I'll fly through a couple of these. I'm always buying the cartoon series, so Chucky the Brave, 4 cartoons plus an exclusive rap music video.
I've never seen that box design before. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I love it too, because it's the Nickelodeon orange tape. A Walt Disney Christmas. I think it's just a bunch of different Disney shorts, which I love. I love those things. Where'd they go? Here we go. There's a big stack of sealed VHS recently at the bins.
Ooh.
And so I grabbed them. I mean, most of the newer stuff's still not worth too much unless it's like super new, like super short print. But the tapes I like, I try to grab sealed if I can ever find them. So I found a Robotech tape.
Wow.
Still sealed. Space Fold and the Long Wait, Volume 2. Strange Brew. Everybody loves these guys, eh?
Hey, you hoser.
Yeah. One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo Nest. I don't know why I grabbed this one. I think I grabbed it. I was going to check it, and then I forgot to just take it out of my cart. Mel Gibson and Ransom.
Give me back my son.
Again, still sealed. Has the watermarks. Getting to the better stuff. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Nice.
And then the really nice, fun one. It's not worth a ton, but still worth getting. Related to one of the books you showed. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Sealed with no watermarks, but definitely has the Paramount thing on it. So, and then I found a few more unsealed stuff. Ernest Saves Christmas.
Ooh, okay.
Scream 3.
Ooh, that's cool.
Exclusive all new bonus edition.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's an interesting release.
Yeah. Um, Disney's Tailspin. So I've been grabbing a few of those. That's showbiz. And then I don't know about you, but I am definitely a child of the late 80s, early 90s. And in our church youth group, my aunt who used to run it definitely showed us a number of the apocalyptic media that was around at that point. So I can never pass on the opportunity to get things like the Revelation Revealed or the Mark of the Beast or the New World Order and the Countdown to Armageddon. I love conspiracy movies. And then one that is definitely in the vein, but it's more of a it's made to be entertainment fiction, The Judgment, which is a apocalyptic thing. I love these type of things. I don't know why, but I end up grabbing them every time I see them. Fly through a couple more here. I don't know about you, but I love grabbing promotional like screeners.
Yeah.
Usually I don't find good ones. I find just horrible bottom of the barrel ones, and this one definitely fits dead on. Definitely in the section I wouldn't have been able to. My parents would have got after me if they saw me hanging in it. For promotional use only, not for sale. I don't know how many they would have actually sold. One of my favorite horror movies, Christine. And I got some Appleseed.
Cool.
A CBS Fox edition of Alien.
Yeah.
I'm sure you already have that one in your collection. But it's one of the coolest looking versions of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
This one sadly didn't have the case, but I still had to grab it because it had the video store label on it. And it's kids' cartoon, so it's Strawberry Shortcake.
Oh.
And in Big Apple City.
That's cool.
From Northwest Video in Turner, Oregon. Another kids movie found in the same bin. Care Bears movie 2. A new generation.
Gonna say that's an RCA Columbia I don't have. Now I'm getting excited over here.
Oh, this one is? All right, well, you'll have to remind me. Yeah, it's pretty good too. Still there. And then there's of the recorded videos, the Pee Wee Herman Show on HBO. So
yeah.
I was super excited to find that. That's a pretty decent.
Oh, that's so great. I used to rent that all the time as a kid. I have a copy now, but I used to rent it from my local video store. That was so cool.
Oh yeah. Well, and then so that's all like actual recorded stuff, like real stuff releases. But as you know, and I know you're into these as well as I am, home recorded stuff is sometimes the most exciting stuff to find. And sadly, I found a bunch of this stuff just when my VCR decided to quit working on me. The play button wouldn't work. You push play and it wouldn't play. Like you could be rewinding and hit the play button, it would stop the rewinding, but it wouldn't play whatever you did, it would not play any more tapes.
Well, here's my question for you though. Do your local like Goodwills and thrift stores not have like stacks of VCRs? Because mine, they're all over the place.
Not as many as they used to. The one I usually go to does. I try to keep my VCR buying under $10. And sometimes I see them for 25, so I got to wait till the half price. But they aren't lasting, so I think there's somebody local that's been competing with me for some technology.
Yeah.
I have a couple of people that have offered me their old ones, and I just have to meet up with them. But I was ripping MASH episodes. I was trying to digitally transfer them.
And you just wore it out?
I think I wore it out because it was like 3-hour stretches, 4 or 5 times a day, running it straight until I could get everything ripped. And I finished my first out of 6 boxes, and then it died on me, unfortunately.
Wow.
So, and then my backup ones I have are either buried or weren't the right style. I found one of my backups. I went and looked at it. It was a video surveillance VCR. So it was definitely had some different hookups and not necessarily what I was looking for in a VCR for doing that work.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the stuff. I found this tape, one of which is the second half of Hell Leap. That's not what I care about because it has Ewok Adventures, 96 minutes.
Wow.
So I'm praying, because it does look like an older VHS tape. I am praying that it is the ABC premiere of the Ewok Adventure, because that would be so cool to have all the original commercials and stuff on it.
If not,
it could just be a
cartoon
like
series.
a
Yeah.
from the yeah. So we'll see what that is. I'm sort of excited about that. Found this tape. It said Poltergeist on it in stickers that made it look like it's a kidnap victim. But I opened it up. It is an American Family Video tape case, which was sort of neat. And it's a Quasar VHS video cassette featuring, here, I'll show the picture, and then I'll read it out. Disney Halloween Treats, 47 minutes. Walt Disney Robin Hood, 83 minutes. Walt Disney Mickey Classic, 51 minutes. Walt Disney Mini Classic, 52 minutes. So I'm hoping these are all off of the Disney Channel.
Yeah.
And have all the commercials intact. I'm not holding my breath though, because I know a lot of times when parents did record the Disney stuff, those dads were meticulous about like stopping and recording.
Yeah.
But we'll see. You never know. Another one simply titled Dungeon and Dragon.
What could it be? The cartoon?
I'm hoping, because I can't think of anything else it would be for a tape this age.
The only thing I can think is go along with your apocalyptic video set. There was that Tom Hanks movie about the guy who plays Dungeons and Dragons and becomes a killer. So maybe it's that one.
Oh, I have that on VHS and DVD. Mazes and Monsters. And during the Satanic Panic, I think there are probably a lot of different movies out there about Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. I'm guessing because this was in a stack of other recorded cartoons, sort of. It's likely the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, but it's sort of a Schrodinger's cat of a VHS tape right now. Until I get my VCR, it could be everything.
Yeah.
Or nothing. It may not play. You never know. And then this one, sometimes with VHS and home recorded stuff, you got to just take a chance and roll the dice and pray you made the right choice. This one's just simply titled Special Movies.
Okay.
So there's a good chance it could be something interesting or interesting.
Want to hear that?
We'll find out soon enough.
Yeah.
And that's it for my VHS stuff and media.
Oh man, I've been running dry with VHS, and there's just been nothing to pick up. The only thing I almost grabbed was a DVD of so they had like the first 4 or 5 seasons of King of the Hill for fairly cheap at my local Goodwill. The only reason I didn't grab them because I'm just like, I don't really need to rewatch King of the Hill, but the commentaries on those were done in character. So like Hank Hill does a commentary or Bobby. I was like, oh, maybe I should have bought those.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But anyway, so like I said, my 5-year-old has been going around making the rounds with me, and he always finds the Happy Meal toys and things. He finds that bin, and usually the old grandmas or whoever that are running things, they're just like, oh, you could just have them. So we walk away with like handfuls of these things. So I'll share a couple of the items that we've come across lately. We got a Yoda from 1996, so it's kind of cool to get a little Yoda. I don't know where he came from originally. We have a Transformers Beast Wars Happy Meal toy there. We have this Fred Flintstone pop star thing that I guess was some sort of, there was like, it was part of a set. I think there were three of them. It was like Dino and Fred and Barney. Um, then he also picked up this one, this Toy Story flippin' Mr. Potato Head. So you got a kick out of that. Um, we also in that same bin got a Scorpion from the Spider-Man Happy Meal. And then I was able also to grab, I think this was in one of our Goodwill bags, but we got a trio of California raisins. So I already have a ton of these, but I don't think I had all of these guys. So that was nice. He was so excited when he saw this for me. He's like, Dad, it's like the Catwoman you have on your shelf. I'm like, I know, now you can have one. um, this was one that I thought would get your attention, but we got a little Chuck E. Cheese
Oh, nice.
football player. Probably have that.
I don't remember if I do. I had the basketball one for sure. I don't know
Oh,
about the
okay.
football. I'll have to look.
We got Scrooge McDuck here. Did these come in cereal? Is that what these were a cereal premium or no?
They were a cereal premium, and you can also buy them as a mail away set for some reason because I saw a bunch. I saw found some sets of 4.
Oh.
So I think they came in. I think they made it in cereal or some kind of treat, but
Mhm.
I know they came in a mail away set as well.
That's cool. Okay. He's been into Looney Tunes lately, so he was super excited about this stretchy car. I don't know which Happy Meal that came with, who was offering it at the time, but he also was excited to get a bunch of these Tiny Toons Happy Meal toys as well. And I was actually just on, I don't know when the episode is dropping, but I was on the Advent Calendar House with Mike Westfall talking about the Tiny Toons Christmas special. So it was an opportune time. Then this is from the other set with the flip cars, so that was just kind of cool. So he loves to ask me about all the characters. He's like, "Who's this guy? Who's this guy?" Um, there's also this Veronica. I think this was a Hardee's meal, the Archie Hardee's meal, if I remember right. And the last one here, this was really cool, is this Godzilla, okay? But it's one of the ones that like, you can squeeze and the arms open so you can latch it onto something. So I just thought that was a cool little design there. All right. My last two things here. So I'll share this. You had a little bit of strawberry shortcake earlier, and now so do I.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Those are cool.
this is really cool. I got a pretty good deal on it to where, when I sell it, I have other like strawberry shortcake books. I know you had some last time also, so I might just sell it as a lot and let somebody have that. But this was probably the big one here. This was just going to our local thrift store, which I like because it's like run by a church charity thing. So it's not Goodwill. They don't have all these rules, they
Yeah.
just kind of throw stuff out there. And so I was able to grab the Micro Machines City Van. So already it's just awesome on its own, right? And then for people who don't remember, the secret within, let's see if we can put this out where everybody can see it, but this is like a full-on city inside. So, and it was in nice shape. The stickers are in nice shape. There's a few little tears here and there, but overall, I was just looking, and these sell for a pretty decent amount, even in this kind of condition where it's not 100% pristine. I guess there's a lot of Micro Machines collectors out there. So I put it up in my eBay store I had an official guide to collecting Micro Machines book that was like spiral bound. So I just have those together there for somebody that's a super collector. But yeah, so that was just a fun find. It's nice I feel like all the toys that have come my way lately, they try to be claimed. Or my 5-year-old wants them for himself. He's like, "Are you selling that one?" I'm like, "Well, you can play with it till I do." He knows how to be careful. He's like, "I won't break it." I'm like, "Okay." But yeah, but that's my haul. What are you closing us out with?
Yeah. Yeah, my wife confiscates my stuff if it's something she really likes. Unfortunately, usually the stuff she really likes is the stuff that I would sell the most and the quickest, but it is what it is. I was gonna say your Yoda
Yeah.
Taco Bell, I believe. I think it was the underage 3 toy
Oh,
for the Taco Bell for the special edition Taco Bell sets.
that would make sense. Okay.
What it was from, because
It just
we
it
it
reminds
was
me of the old fortune teller I used to have, you know? Yeah.
yeah. So all right, moving into the last of my a couple fun things. Um, set dig at the bins, Jurassic Park car and T-Rex. I remember, I think this is a Target set or exclusive Target set, but it's like almost brand new. I was sort of surprised to find it in the bins, and like I checked to make sure there was any damage. There wasn't any damage on either of them, so I was like, sweet, I'll grab those. I love Jurassic Park toys, and any that I don't keep usually sell really easy.
Yeah, I come across that Explorer so often, but it's never the vintage one. You know, it's always that recent release, and I'm like, oh man, where's the vintage one?
Oh, I forgot, I did have a book I was going to share. Again, it counts as a children's book, even though it's just amazingly ridiculous. I know people love Richard Scarry, and then I found that Richard Scarry's biggest word book ever, and it is a monster.
Wow.
While these, I think probably grade school teachers, especially ones that are retiring, just donate a lot of their stuff to the Goodwills, and so sometimes you see these monster board books. And normally I pass on them because they take up so much space, but like I had to grab the Richard Scarry one. It's got some damage to it, as you can see right there. It's got some corner damage, and it's a little beat up. I mean, it's in pretty decent condition. It's just got a little bit of damage. But looking at like how much these sell for if they were in mint condition is like 40 to 50 bucks, some of them.
Wow.
And I've seen them listed for 75 or 80. So it's just an older book, and I think it is just because they're hard to keep in good condition. And there are collectors of Richard Scarry stuff. So then back to away from our media, I went to my supplier, my toy person that has
I always want to see what she's given you. Yeah.
Oddball stuff. I'm not a Marx collector per se, but I do love Marx's place and toy history. And I do love little plastic figures. And she had these Marx Robin Hood characters.
Oh, that's neat.
I didn't have the play set for them, but it was a full bag of just different colors. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to grab those. I love little plastic army men guys. And then Robin Hood is just so unique for the stuff I collect. I'll grab that stuff. Just sort of fun little neat bag of goodies. And she knows I like weird promotional stuff. And did you drink Kool-Aid as a kid, Adam?
No, my mom was not a fan. It was a very rare occasion. Yeah.
Okay. So you probably never got enough points to send away for something.
Nope.
Well, apparently Phyllis ran a daycare, and I think she did Kool-Aid, so she definitely had points to send away. So we got these awesome Kool-Aid side pouches, or little belt pouches. Actually, you know what? No, I'm incorrect. These go on the front handlebars of your bike.
Oh.
And it's Kool-Aid Man on front. So I got a couple of those from her.
Well, that looks like
and
a horror movie logo. I got to be honest. When it's not like fully colored in, it's like he's bleeding.
It definitely does. That is I'll show it to the audience again. Yeah. I could see that giving off very Winnie the Pooh blood and honey vibes there. And then she goes, I may even have the box for it. I'll let you know. And I said, oh, please do, because I love original mailers for anything that I collect. And she definitely has. I've seen Sears boxes and stuff for some of the toys she's had. She did have the mailer for this. Yet another Kool-Aid product.
Oh.
And I'm going to fold it out all the way. But here's the title.
Okay.
It is a Kool-Aid pint
With that same logo.
with that same bloody logo. Yep. So maybe you'll scare away the serial killers in your slasher
Yeah.
out. But it's
Bloody
just
Kool-Aid
basically
movie.
plastic sheeting that's colored orange with the Kool-Aid logo and some to hang it up. That's all you get. So
Gotta
you
go
got to
camping this summer and get into your Kool-Aid tent.
find 2 trees. You got to have 2 trees close enough to fit your twine around so you can tie the tent. She has popped up a couple vintage action figures from time to time, and while I'm not a Mego guy, I can't pass on good condition ones, especially when it's Shazam, even though he's missing his sticker like he always is and his cape. Still pretty good condition figure. And those Shazam boots usually sell for a pretty little amount as well. I have a buddy that's a Mego collector, and he said the original parts usually do pretty well. So, and I love Twisted Toy Fair Theater, so like anytime I see Mego figures, if it was a character I like, Shazam not as much, but since he was good condition, he had to go. But I do have Spider-Man and Hulk Mego figures because of Twisted Mego Theater or Twisted Toy Fair Theater. And then we'll finish it up with the one big purchase I got from Phyllis. So Phyllis posted these for much under the market rate. And so I claimed them immediately. As soon as I saw them, I claimed them. I said, yeah, I want them. And then she told me when I was buying them that she had a number of people offering her more money to sell to them. And she's a person of her word. She says, once I've made a deal, we go with the deal.
That's awesome.
And if he doesn't come pick it up, then we'll talk later. And it's funny because I know the people that were making the offers because it's a small, like the collector community, we know each other, and I like 100% know who it was. And it cracked me up because it just gave me that much more joy knowing that I snagged it before them. Even though I get along with them, they're fun. It's just sort of that little competition. But who wouldn't want an action figure of General George S. Custer?
Now, is that based on the movie, the Legend of the Lone Ranger movie, right? Yeah.
It must be because it's Lone Ranger. The set is Lone Ranger, Tonto, Butch Cavendish, Buffalo Bill Cody, and General George Custer. So I got the full set from her.
Whoa.
So George Cavendish, or Butch Cassidy here.
Okay.
Another Custer. I think I actually had 3 Custers.
Do they all have that burst on the corner, all the Custers, or is that a different one?
The Free Western Town?
Yeah. Is your other one?
Oh, no, that's a different one. That's a later one. So,
yes, you got a variant too. That's great.
Notice, yeah. So, and on the back, you get a Free Western Town with proofs of purchase of any 4 Legend of the Lone Ranger fingers or horses.
Now you
I looked it up. Those horses are expensive.
Yeah.
Buffalo Bill. And unfortunately, the one I was most excited about has, of course, the worst card, Tonto and the Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
So it was cool getting these sets. I was super happy to grab some of those. I got a few more small things that she's holding for me, nothing major at this point, but she is she's been posting some neat things, but nothing it's a competition. There's a number of us that are jump on it fast. So
I wish I could just go back in time and go shopping with her. I want to know, just like she's like, oh, well, I'll just pick up all of these today. No, I'll just pick up all of these today. Like just the stuff that she has given to you over these last few months. It's just been fascinating.
So she owned a daycare, and so all the stuff was stuff she'd use for either toys for the daycare or gifts for kids for birthdays and such.
Yeah.
So she'd just go to, like, if she saw toys on clearance, or I think she knew some people that owned like the distributors, and so she'd end up just buying a ton of stuff and just throwing it in her closet and then hooking kids up on their birthdays or if they did good in school or something. So
yeah, I gotta say,
she's just
those particular figures, I don't know if you ever bought them back in the day, but before Toy Fair magazine existed, like you were talking about, Tomart was like the price guide for toys and action figures and stuff. And I
Yeah.
used to buy their big volumes, right? And I remember those Legend of the Lone Ranger figures in there, but I'd never seen them, firsthand. So that's so cool to finally get the visual all these
Yeah.
years later.
Well, another thing I picked up from her, I didn't show on the video, but she had a lot of Barbie pieces, just a box full of Barbie pieces from the 1980s. And I grabbed it because it was pretty cheap. And one of the Barbie jukeboxes was there. And I'm like, that's sort of cool, like little piece. And then I got it, and there's like Barbie and the Rockers pieces and all these just random pieces in there. So I'm going to be like going through, figuring out what's what. Some of them I'll probably end up selling individually, but I'm probably going to bundle up the rest and sell them to somebody else. I mean, I've been told that I need to move some stuff out of my hobby room. It's outgrowing me, so I'm going to have to learn how to actually part with some of my treasures in a way, like in a more active way. I haven't been selling at any flea markets for a bit. My flea market selling season's usually winter time, and so I have a finish up. But I may have a garage sale this summer. I've been thinking about, or a yard sale. I've been thinking about putting out a collector yard sale and just saying it's a collector's yard sale. There may be deals.
Yeah.
Deals to had. Some stuff will be collector price. Some stuff will be I need it out of my house price.
Nice.
Come grab stuff. So, and I can just start carting stuff out of my game room. And if one of my friends or somebody I know and trust show up, I can have them come in, and they might be able to do some private shopping as well. So we're trying to find the weekend to do that.
I was gonna say, so if you guys are in Oregon, try to track down Chris, and you might be able to hit up the yard sale. So that's great. But yeah, so obviously, the thrifting gods were very generous to us this last month. So more to come for sure next month as we get in. There's more traveling happening, so I'm sure to stop in and see some other spots and shops when I can. So we look forward to having Kevin back with us next time and seeing what he found in his travels. But hey, until next time, make sure you're staying connected with us here on the Retro Network. All of Geekster Media's offerings are on theretronetwork.com. But also, Chris, where can people find you on social media if they want to get a little preview here and there of the next video?
So I'm posting a lot on Instagram. Well, not as much lately, but I am on Instagram at Beatle, BEATLE underscore. Or actually, what is it? Now I can't even remember, Adam.
I think on
Instagram,
your Beatles toy box, right?
Yeah, Beatles underscore toy box at Beatles underscore toy box. On Twitter or X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, I'm at Beatle underscore toy box. I'm on Facebook. I can usually be found just my name, Chris Bailey. And I don't know. I just sort of random. It's hard to. I'm always posting stuff at different places. So if you run into me, throw me a follow, and you'll see some of the cool stuff I find from time to time.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm over at Hoju Coolander on all the socials, HOJUKOOLANDER. But again, thank you so much for checking out this video, and we'll see you next month. So long.
Thanks.
Has been a presentation of Geekster Media.